You're so good with the kids, my SIL said before disappearing for 6 hours every day on vacation.
I, 24F, have a younger sister, Lily, 19F. And for most of our lives we've gotten along pretty well. We aren't best friends, but we've never had major problems. That changed after what was supposed to be a relaxing family vacation turned into a week-long babysitting disaster that somehow became my fault. For context, my parents wanted to celebrate their 30th wedding anniversary and decided to rent a large beach house for the entire family. It was supposed to be a fun trip with my parents, my sister, my older brother Mark, 32M, his wife Jenna, 31F, and their 3 kids who are ages 8, 6, and 3. When the trip was first planned, everyone was excited. My parents were paying for most of the accommodations as their gift to the family. We only had to cover our travel expenses and personal spending. It sounded perfect. About a month before the vacation, Jenna called me and casually asked if I'd be willing to help watch the kids here and there during the trip. I said sure. I like my nieces and nephew. I don't mind helping occasionally. In my mind, that meant maybe watching them for an hour while the parents went for a walk or helping keep an eye on them at the beach. Apparently, Jenna had a very different interpretation. The first sign of trouble happened on the second day. I woke up around 8:30 a.m. and walked downstairs to find all 3 kids sitting in the living room eating cereal, while Mark and Jenna were nowhere to be seen. I asked where their parents were. My oldest niece said, "Mom and Dad went out for breakfast." I assumed they'd be back soon. 3 hours later, they finally returned carrying shopping bags and iced coffees. Jenna smiled and said, "Thanks for watching them." I was confused. I hadn't agreed to watch them. Nobody had even asked me that morning. I pointed this out and Jenna laughed. "We knew you'd be fine." That annoyed me, but I decided not to start an argument. The next day, it happened again. Then again. By the middle of the week, I realized I'd somehow become the default childcare provider. Every morning, I'd wake up and discover the kids had been left with me while their parents disappeared. Sometimes they'd go shopping. Sometimes they'd go to restaurants. One day, they spent nearly 6 hours at a spa. Meanwhile, I couldn't make any plans because nobody would tell me when they were coming back. The worst part was that everyone else seemed to think this arrangement was completely normal. My parents kept saying things like, "They're just trying to enjoy their vacation." I finally replied, "And what exactly am I doing?" Nobody had an answer. I didn't spend my money and vacation days from work to become an unpaid nanny. Things reached a breaking point on day 6. A group of friends happened to be staying about 30 minutes away, and they invited me to join them for lunch and jet skiing. I was excited, because I barely had any personal time during the entire trip. The night before, I specifically told Mark and Jenna that I would be gone from 10 a.m. until at least late afternoon. Both of them said, "No problem." I thought that settled it. The next morning I got ready, grabbed my bag, and headed downstairs. The kids were eating breakfast. Mark and Jenna were nowhere in sight. Again. I checked outside. Nothing. I called both of them. No answer. Then I received a text from Jenna. "Thanks. We'll be back around 4."